Hi, I'm Garm1, and this is Midgardia's cool crowdfunding show. I'm here today with Pat. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm
Doing all
do
right. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. So you're here to tell us about GotchaCards. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so GotchaCards is our take on kind of a strategic rock, paper, scissors game. Draws a lot of inspiration from Kaiji Ultimate Survivor. At first, I thought it was just restricted rock, paper, scissors. But later on, when I was like reflecting on it, I realized like Emperor card is also like part of the soup. Like the what can beat other things and starting face down and positioning mattering a lot. Um, yeah, that's sort of the quick summary of it.
Is Kaiji Ultimate Survivor the gambling anime?
Yes.
Right on. I've never watched it, but I've seen many
Oh,
many screenshots.
okay. Yeah, yeah. I guess to delve into that a little bit more, restricted rock paper scissors is a card game that they play where each player has a certain number of rock paper and scissors cards, and they have to get rid of them. But basically, they have a certain amount of like, I guess, star chips or life points, and every loss, they have to give one over to their opponent. It's not exactly like that, but there's a very similar pattern here.
Right.
Um,
So it's kind of like card counting, but also rock paper scissors.
yes, yeah, yeah. So the goal of the game is to beat your opponent's cards with your rock, scissors, or paper cards. When a card wins, you take it and the card it defeated and put it in your victory pile. And whoever has the most in the victory pile by the end of 3 turns is the winner.
Right on.
Yep.
So are the decks standardized then, or is this like a deck
Yes.
customization?
It is standardized. We have fixed numbers for each of the different types. So we have I've broken them. We've broken them up into 2 different sets within the deck. There's no expansion or booster or anything. You get everything you need in the deck, which is what I like. I like TCG stuff, but I didn't want to subject anybody to that from from my own uh, from a project that I made. So I wanted to make sure you got everything you needed in the box. So in the tutorial set, and this is the set we used to when we're still teaching the game to sort of reduce the mental overhead. We have about 4 different card types for each of the rock, scissors, and paper cards, um, sort of escalating in strength. So should I break down each of these or
Yeah, sure.
just
Go for it.
go for it? Okay, cool. The simplest of the set are just the basic rock, scissors, and paper cards. Um, they are suited and they do what a rock, scissors, and paper would expect to do. The next set are the draw one cards, and if those cards win, you get to draw an additional card from the deck. So if you use a draw one rock and you beat any scissors, you get to draw an extra card. But it only activates if you win and if it was a draw one card that you played. So if your opponent plays a paper and beats your draw one rock, they don't get to draw the card.
Right, but
Okay.
if they play a draw one paper and beat your draw one rock, they get to draw just one card still. Then
Yes,
okay,
exactly. Yep. Next set are the mighty cards. Um, and these are cards that can also beat the suit they normally lose to. So it's a rock that can beat a paper, a scissors that can beat a rock, and a paper that can beat a scissors. So, sorry, I usually have like a visual for this, but basically, so a mighty paper can beat both a rock and a scissors,
okay.
and a mighty paper will tie against another paper card.
So they effectively
Um,
can't lose, but there is a 1/3 chance they don't win either. What happens in the case of a tie?
in the case of a tie, both cards that battle are placed in the trash.
Gotcha.
So there's a trash area for discarded cards. And then when it comes to evaluating a mighty against another mighty, the mighty effect takes priority. So since mighty paper is a paper that can beat scissors, mighty paper beats mighty scissors. So it's a reverse weapon triangle if you want to think about it that way.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's right.
All right, now it's coming together.
Excellent. Okay. For the last tier of the tutorial set, we have super cards, and there's one super card for each of the suits. So let's say each of them has a special ability. Super paper can defeat any other card. If it battles another card, it wins. And that's its special ability. Um, when players are placing cards on the field, we actually take turns placing them face down, and before we evaluate, we flip all of the cards up. When at that point, then you go lane by lane and evaluate each battle. For Super Scissors, as soon as you flip over all the cards, whichever player played Super Scissors must trash one card on the field, even if it's on your own side. So this effect, if you think about it, is sort of the scissors is cutting up a card. So even though Super Paper would win if they battled directly, Super Scissors trashes it before it goes to the battle step.
Right. So then
Right.
the super paper or super scissors wouldn't be added to the victory pile, or would because it's not fighting anything.
Right. So the super, because you've trashed the Super Paper card, that does, you're right, it doesn't go into your victory pile. It just goes into the trash.
Okay.
But then, and then after this effect activates, it evaluates like a basic scissors. So if you were in a situation where you only played Super Scissors and your opponent played a Super Paper and a basic rock, you can trash one of them, but the one of them could potentially beat the scissors when it came to evaluating. Does
Gotcha.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, for the super cards, there's Super Rock. If Super Rock is anywhere on the field, Super Scissors cutting effect does not activate. So Super Scissors, that's it sort of how it beats, or how a Super Rock could beat a Super Scissors. And then on its own, because it has its own unique ability, Super Rock will stay on the field for one additional turn after it's played, whether it wins or loses. So it's
Okay.
a sort of defensive or persistent card.
Right. And it stays there because it's a rock. It's heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And then the last card of this tutorial set is the Gotcha card. These are unsuited. There's a little capsule image on it. And the way that this one works is when you're evaluating the lanes, you take the Gotcha card, place it in the trash, and then you can play a card out of your hand into the empty spot.
Oh.
So basically, it's like a late game play. You've seen what your opponent's card is, and now you can put down whatever you want.
Kind of like
Um,
ninjutsu from Magic the Gathering.
oh,
Except,
is that?
good.
Yeah. It's not good in Magic.
No, I mean, I've never found a good use case for it, but maybe I'm too simple-minded.
But yeah, so that's the basic set. That's what we usually use to teach the game, or sorry, tutorial set. And the way it works from there, or once we explain all the different card effects, we start a game with rock paper scissors actually. So we determine play order with rock paper scissors. Once we settle that, the winner becomes player one, and player one starts by drawing 9 cards. Player one looks at the 9 cards, picks one to keep, and then we place the remaining 8 cards face up onto the table. And then, starting with player two, we draft our hands from there. So, starting off, player one has 1 secret card, and they've gotten to see all the cards ahead of time. And then, player one and player two each have basically 4 public cards. Like you have an idea, or you've memorized exactly which ones your opponent picked.
Oh, you're
Then
both playing out of the same deck. I got you.
yes, yeah,
It's all coming together in my brain.
yeah, great. That's really reassuring. So after you've drafted, player two then draws a card from the top of the deck, completing their hand of 5. So now both players have 5 cards each. They take these 5 cards each, and they play over 3 turns. On each turn, each player is required to play at least 1 card. If you cannot play one card, or you don't have a card on the field, you automatically lose the round. So you don't want to overplay too early.
Right.
Um, and then you take turns. The players take turns placing cards face down. Um, so, for example, turn one, player one goes first. I only have to, let's say I'm player one in this example. I only have to put one card face down, but I can put more. And then after I'm done putting cards face down, then the opponent, player two, can put their cards face down. After you're done putting cards face down, then you flip them over and evaluate each battle.
All right.
And so you do that. You do that on turn one, player one goes first. Turn two, player two goes first. And on turn three, both players play all cards that they've got left. There's no waiting or responding in this. You have to empty your hand.
Right. So player one has that hidden card that they get to pick out of the first 9, which is their advantage, but they also have to play first 2 out of the 3 rounds, giving
Exactly.
blue. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And there is actually a huge advantage to going second. For example, on turn one, if I play only one card, that leaves, 2 or more open lanes that the opponent could just automatically win in. So you don't have to match what your opponent plays. You can do more or less, as long as it's one.
Right.
And I'll just say this here. This is a pro tip. If you can guarantee your +1 card drawing a card, you really should. So you could actually, let's say you end up with 4 +1 cards, and your opponent plays only one card on turn one, and you're player two. You might as well fill up the board and draw 4 more cards, and you're up on points and on hand potential.
Right.
So there's some devilish tricks that you could pull when you if you've drafted correctly, I guess.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
The art is wonderful, by the way.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we I my only regret is that that there's only so many cards. I sort of came up with a bunch of different like artists, and I'm fans of their work, and I wanted to support them. So I got to do a couple. My creative partner Pablo got to do a couple, and we did outreach for about 20 cards, and they really blew me away with what they delivered on, because it's such a cool and fun vibe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really like the gotcha card in particular. Like that looks fantastic just as a standalone art piece.
Oh, that I actually did the all the item cards.
Oh,
So
nice.
that one, yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, so I did basic rock, gotcha, risky gotcha, and then curse.
Right on.
I don't. Yeah, curse honestly is one of my favorite ones to play. I don't know if you got a good look at that one yet. But it's very funny. It's we did some practice testing over the weekend, and my buddy hit me with 2 curse cards in a row, and I wasn't even mad. I dealt with the first one, and then the second one I had no response for, and I was down 2 points at the end of the round, and that was it.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh, so I like the art is wonderful as I just said, but I also want to talk about the like colorblind accessibility that you've got going on here.
Okay. Yeah.
Every card has both a color and a shape and a character associated with it.
Yes.
Was that an intentional design decision to make it more colorblind friendly?
Yes. Yeah. So we sort of, when we were forming the idea, the Pokemon weapon triangle it's hard, it's inescapable, right? It's one of those things that's sort of cemented in our minds. I guess Mega Man also. Um, so that we wanted to lean on that, but we realized that like it's stronger if we can also form like a shape association with it. So, and I mean, also it's fun. Like I love that we have the triangle pips. I love that we have like different pips on each of them. Um, And there was actually a very funny problem when we were in our early prototyping. I I just happened to have a stack of blank cards, and I just took a Sharpie to them, and I wrote it out. But I didn't realize that the how people typically hold cards, the pips should be oriented a certain way, and if you do it backwards, you can't see the different suits. So that was like, I guess that helped go into the soup. Like, I need to make sure it's clear when you're holding this. You know, when you have enough cards in your hand, you can't see every single one. So being able to get a preview of the different types that you have in your hand is very important. Um, so yes, that was, and I'm so grateful that you pointed that out, because it was, it's one of those things that's it's easy to miss if you don't have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, oftentimes we go into games playing them and not really thinking about what goes into the soup or goes into the mechanisms for communication.
Yeah. And for the record, like I'm not colorblind, but I have, a lot of friends who are, so I try to keep an eye out.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's an important consideration.
Also, I like the card backs. They're also very stylish.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's we've went through a bunch of different revisions for them, and Pablo was really trying to, like, I guess, nail a certain energy with it, and somehow he managed to make them look kind of holographic without a hollow effect on it, if that makes sense. Like, just
Yeah.
the gradient alone is so rich, and it's fun to look at. Like,
Yeah, the general art style kind of puts me in the mind of like either a late '90s Monster Tamer or Persona 4. Like,
oh, wonderful. Yeah, excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, late '90s monster tamer. That is probably one of the best compliments we've ever gotten, I think.
I'm glad. I mean, like,
Yeah.
look at the little rock dude. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
catch that guy immediately. Most of my party
Uh
would be that guy.
huh. And you can, if you know what you're doing, you can win with a handful of rocks.
Excellent.
It's totally possible.
Nothing beats
Um,
rock.
Nothing beats rock. That's right. Good old reliable rock.
Oh my god, I didn't
Um,
even notice that he gets a little belt in his like second form.
yeah. Yeah.
It's good
So,
stuff.
I guess, like, to put a spotlight on that, one of the, I guess, like, big inspirations for the designs were with Digimon, that sort of evolution chain that's kind of there, but then also goes, like, super crazy. Like, part of the way through, or by the end of it, they're kind of like almost like unrecognizable as what the original form was. So it's at paper. The paper line is like a perfect example of this. Um, you know, he starts off as like kind of escaping an office, becoming a knight, and then almost like a knight errant by the time you get to uh, the mighty paper design. And the direction that we were looking for the mighty paper design was, I want you to skip Greymon and go straight to Skull Greymon, and that's absolutely what we got. Like, the card can barely contain it. But then by the time you get to Super Paper, the design is a lot more refined and sort of folded and sharpened in a way that is it's unbelievable. It's so sick. And the foil card, even, like, I just have a couple of foil cards for myself, and when it pops out, it's so, like, awesome.
I love the waves in the background of Super Paper as well. Very
Yeah.
reminiscent of the great wave of, I forget the last word there. You know the one.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Yeah, they did an incredible job, and um all of I want to say something about the artists is we approached them with the budget that we had, and they were very accommodating. And so, like, for this Kickstarter campaign, it was very important to me to make sure that, they, for the most part, they were really flexible with what we had and really understanding with our time frame. And so, we've committed to an artist bonus in the campaign, and it's worked into it. They're getting at least a minimum of like an extra $100 if the campaign is successful. But
Right
we've
on.
set it to a percentage, So if we do really, really well, I I am happy to give them more. Um, I would love to give them each like $500, campaign willing, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that I'm happy to do, and it's very important to pay the artists what they're worth, and also like give them more, but give them more if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I do appreciate that on the website where you can look through all the cards and stuff, you've got both their name on the card and also a link to, I assume whatever link they asked for.
Yes. Yep. Yep. We made sure whatever, if it's a portfolio, if it's a Tumblr, if it's their Twitter, if it's their Blue Sky, whatever they wanted, I wanted to make sure that gets featured. So, uh, whoever goes and looks at it can support them, can look into them, appreciate their work outside of our project.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is, yeah, like they're all wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, like my only regret from this project is that we only have so many cards to put artists on. I had a I want to call it a short list, but honestly, I there's just people I didn't get to yet, and I if we do well here, I would love. We have other card designs and stuff in mind. I would love to actually make it to these other names on the list and other people that we've supported and interacted with along the way, because
Yeah.
it's almost too much. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
can't.
you
Yeah,
could you could definitely do like either an expansion or an alternate art core set or something like.
yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah. To speak on that, so what we're hoping to do in the short term is to go to live events. This week, actually, we're going to. I have a good relationship with the card shops in our area, and we'll be doing like a live demo tutorial, even having like a couple of tournaments, like if people are open to that, with like prizing and stuff. And so for these live events, yeah, I said that I didn't want to subject people to booster packs, but it is cool to be rewarded with something like unique if you go and see us. So Pablo actually did a set of alternate art cards for the +1 cards, and so for each of these things that you do, or even just coming and saying hello at our demo events, we'll be giving those out. Like, so you could just add it in, or you could actually swap it out with another one, and it's just a fun little thing like that. I really enjoy about card games in general, so I wanted to implement it however
Yeah.
we could.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love low promo cards, which
Yeah.
sucks because I'm also a like 100% collection goblin when it comes to a lot of that stuff. But
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel it. I feel it. So actually, one of the driving factors in this was that made me really start thinking critically about like a card game was last year. Um, Me and my friends in town got into the One Piece TCG, and we're regulars at the store. It's just sort of how we built that relationship, and it was this like really like I'm looking back on it, I was moved by this like community. Like there's a lot of talk about it like a third place. Have you heard these like
yeah,
discussions? Because you just work and home, right? Post pandemic, I was not actively looking for this, but I when I realized that I was enjoying this sort of regular interaction with people in person, I was like, oh, that's what this is. There's a sense of community here, even though it's like people are trying to like beat each other into the dirt with their cards, and and so it I guess to get to this point, there have been like a couple attempts at making like a video game that didn't really gel, or we ended up having to like put on ice for the long term. And I think our brains were wired to like put something like this together. And when we saw like what a system and a community like this could be, like I want something like that for us. I want something like that for somebody else who enjoys our game. Who's to say if it would take off in that way? But I feel like it's we're having a lot of fun with it,
yeah,
and the in-person interactions and I guess tutorials and gameplay with new players has been uh, a really good experience.
yeah. There's definitely something special about playing weird analog games with strangers, like be that board games or TCGs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like everybody knows what's up. maybe a new card will show up that you don't that their your opponent is happy to explain why it's destroying you right now. Wait,
Yeah.
what is that? What does that do? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's my
Um,
my entire experience playing Commander.
oh yeah, yeah. That's what I hear. Is
Check it out. I found this card that was printed once 20 years ago. And it just kills you outright and takes your house. Great.
oh no, oh no.
I'm not bitter. Don't it's fine.
No,
Uh
I get it. I get it. And yeah, like and sort of I guess to speak on the One Piece experiences, uh, I I'm careful to with my collection of that. Like I'm wanting a binder that's like ID complete,
oh yeah.
but I'm not the kind of crazy person that's also like. I mean, you know, props to them. I couldn't be me, but the people who actually go out and like fully bling out their stuff, like go and get like prize cards, like actual prize cards,
Yeah.
and I've drawn a line so that I'm safe from that level of collection, but it
Yeah.
is a strange feeling getting very very close to actually having one of them and not being able to take it home.
Yeah.
like um
I've got a little binder of various goblin cards for Magic the Gathering because I love goblins.
oh yeah, yeah.
And it will probably never be a complete collection.
Mm.
But you
Hmm.
know, it means I don't keep trying to put them into commander decks. So it's like a little containment unit, you know?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, it's really cool like that's another thing too is like it's really cool seeing like how people if people do binders like what they prioritize, how they sort it. Like it's such like you know, people often bring like trade binders and stuff and seeing what they do or how they want to focus stuff like oh these ones on the front page like are you doing it or like just you know sorted by ID here or are you uh, you know there's certain ones you want to feature so you put all of your alt arts on the first like two pages and
Yeah.
then those can shift. I don't know like it's such an interesting world to be a part of like
Yeah. Absolutely.
le-
I like card shops. They're fun places to be.
yeah, yeah. I've tapped into my middle school dreams of playing Yu-Gi-Oh or playing a card game competitively. All right,
uh,
who's Kaiba here? Am I Kaiba? Are you Kaiba? Who's
I I don't think either of us are Kaiba. I think we're both the weird bug dude.
yeah,
If I'm
yeah,
lucky, I can be the dinosaur guy who has dino DNA. But yeah, gotcha cards. Uh,
yep,
Single deck is like what 18 US? Yeah.
yeah. 20 US is the base price. If you're an early bird, you get it for 18. And there's at the time of this recording, there's plenty of early bird options.
Yep, there are
Yep,
70 left. So,
great.
hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a fun time. Also, at the very least, the art is very cute, and $20 to have a bunch of very cute art is completely reasonable in my opinion.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, I think this is a great deal, and even if people aren't necessarily playing the game, it's a really cool, nice little art piece to have.
Yeah.
I will say that something that's very important that I feel like maybe we have over some, you know, Kickstarters that I've definitely backed in the past. Um, I am confident enough to say that development time is done on this. We are ready to print and ship. There is maybe a couple of changes that we're going to do to the instruction manual that's packed in. I think in the current iteration of it, we have full written instructions, but I think we're going to make a little bit of space for a QR code so people can go and like read it on a reasonable. It's pretty tiny because it fits inside the box. Like that's something we wanted to make sure we had, but also like for you know for accessibility purposes, we are assuming that most people have internet access and they can get to this point, but you know, uh, it's a lot easier if you're able to pull it up on your phone and you know actually control F and look around at different things. Aside from that, there's no extra development time. It is my mission to make sure that these are shipped out before December 2024.
Right on.
So that's I really want to stress that
Yeah,
because
because we've all seen,
yep,
Kickstarter projects with incredibly long development time.
Yep, yep.
Looking at
And
you,
it's
um, but yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and it's that's part of it. That's part of the risk, I think, with a Kickstarter. You are often just sort of supporting people who are planning to deliver later. But we took this project as far as we could get without any outside investment. We took like contract work and sort of funneled our own income to it, which maybe I don't know if that's necessarily like a great idea, but this means that we own the idea ourselves. This
yeah.
is ours, and I think that's very important. It also gives us a bit of room for, I guess, like bargaining, or or if we want to make any changes to the project. It is our decision to make.
If you want to talk about shipping, since I'm seeing the note there, you currently only ship to the U.S., Canada, and the Philippines. Is that right?
Yes, that is what we have available right now. We actually just added Canada and the Philippines as an option.
To it,
My
yeah,
Yeah, so in our initial plans, we wanted to make it something, make shipping options that we were confident that we could deliver on. And I'm used to, I sell some, so I sell some trading cards and stuff. So I'm used to like shipping cards, and the deck is a lot easier to ship than something you have to like super protect and pack. It's already like contained. So I even have like we're using pirate ship for this. I don't know if that's critical to know, but I pretty much have presets built for all of the things that we're shipping, and we are handling it ourselves, for better or worse. So within the United States, easy, got that unlocked, not a problem. We can handle it. We're going to use eco-safe or eco-friendly shipping. That's all handled. Um, when it came to outside the U.S., I understand that shipping rates are a lot tougher, especially. I think there's some complicated stuff with like going like shipping to the UK. That's something I would love to solve, but that's not something I'm super confident in at this point.
yeah.
Um,
I know a lot of people
Canada,
just do like a different printer for Europe
mm,
and stuff, and that is a logistical headache.
right, exactly, and like I said, at this stage, it's just us two. I cannot
Yeah,
confidently commit to a UK thing yet. Um, but Canada is something that is feasible, and I think we do have to figure out a couple of different things. I know there's like a customs thing that we have to go through. That's something that we're confident enough that we can handle. And then the Philippines is I have some family that I have that in the Philippines that I've have a very good relationship with. They're business minded, and they're not going to disappear with our product. Like that would be that would ruin a lot more than reputation, I think. So it is it's something that we're comfortable adding that as a shipping option. So that
right on.
is
Yeah, if there's anything on the Canadian side that you need somebody to like in person go yell at a government official about, feel free to let me know because I live in
oh
Canada. So
great,
yeah,
fantastic, yeah. Then
and I love
I
yelling
will.
at government officials.
Great, wonderful, appreciate it.
Uh,
Happy to yeah. They say when you do what you love. Just
yeah,
kidding.
but yeah, um, so ships to U.S., Canada, and the Philippines, and
Yep,
that is a fairly substantial market right there. Those three. Yeah,
yep.
I this game looks fun. And like I said, it's like 20 USD for some pretty nice cards. Is it possible to buy an uncut sheet of these? Because that would look really cool. I assume
Um,
it's not, but
it's not something that we offer, but I personally want one for myself. My dream right now is I a lot of the artists live kind of all over the world. Like there's a handful of like let's say the majority of them are in the U.S., but there actually are. There's one in the Philippines. There's one in Ireland. There's one in I believe somewhere else in UK. Definitely one or two in Canada, and it would be my dream to have like a display of all of their cards with signatures, like autographs on it.
oh, that'd
And
be
so
sweet. Yeah.
it would be crazy to do something like that with an uncut sheet. I don't think that's really reasonable, but that would be so cool to
It
have
would,
something like that.
yeah, it'd be a bit difficult, but like doable, but difficult.
Yeah, yeah. Like maybe someday, maybe somewhere down the line, if things go really well for us, then we'll do a world tour and get that taken care of. Like,
Hell yeah.
Uh, yeah. Uh,
I think the only thing that we haven't really
I've
touched on is
used-
foil cards. If you want to
okay.
talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. I think this other thing will bubble up in my head, like either at the end of the conversation or after, as soon as we hang up. So that's
All
just
right.
how it goes. But yeah, foil cards. Well, what do you want to know about them, or just?
Uh, Tell me about the random foil cards, like which
Oh,
ones
okay.
they are, or whatever.
Yes. So yeah. So the foil cards initially were a way to like I want to make these either event or Kickstarter exclusive. Like I said before with like even with like the One Piece stuff, I think they're really cool, but I would put them in a binder and just never use them if I didn't need if I unless I absolutely needed to, which I have had to break glass in case of emergency a couple of times. So I thought the foil cards initially were just a fun way to like, here's something extra you get for free. It's a cool like shiny thing. And in our initial setup, it was just the cards that seemed most appropriate for that, the super cards and the double edge cards. So um, I guess I didn't get into the double edge cards in the description, but the idea behind those cards is the they're in the advanced set. If they win, your opponent has to discard a card from their hand. If they don't win, meaning if they lose or tie, you are forced to discard a card from your hand. It's like kind of like a desperate final play, or kind of a crazy way to turn a battle around without winning on points.
Huh. Yeah,
Um,
that's neat.
so yeah, so the art for these were also like we wanted to make them full art. We wanted to get them sort of breaking the edge of the frame, and they seemed the most appropriate to do in foil. So we set it up as like, okay, you get a deck, you get a free foil with it, and then if you really want the full set of six, I guess it's kind of preying on FOMO if we want to be really cynical about it. But it's just like I just wanted it to be a fun thing, you know? Like it's not you don't need it to play.
Yeah.
It's just a cool extra thing. And if you really want the full set, here you go. They're mostly like cost of production for them. Like I'm not trying to get like squeeze blood out of a stone here for each of
Yeah.
these.
It's not like
Um,
$50 for 5 basic lands or something.
No, absolutely not. I cannot in good faith do something like that to somebody else. Yeah. So, that was the initial idea behind the foil cards. And during playtesting or print testing, somebody that was sort of a regular player said, "What if you did like a full deck that's foiled?" And I said, "That's crazy. Nobody would buy that. That's too much. I wouldn't want to do that to somebody. But
Yep.
I'll test the print anyway just to see what it looks like." And it's pretty cool. Not gonna lie, it's actually really sick to hold like a fully foiled deck.
And
Um,
31 people backed at that here so far, so
yeah,
there is interest. Yeah.
yeah. So I was wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong in this case. And I wouldn't mind it if people really went above and beyond on support and got these. Um, what I will say, just as a thing that I personally am worried about, is that I worry that it is more of a collector's item for people, and that they don't actually play the game, which is really what I want people to do. Um, so I think it's really cool. I have a set for myself that I'll break out just to like, hey, let's crank this up. Let's break out the nice
The nice deck.
let's break out the nice deck. It's time for a show.
We've got guests
Um,
coming over. Break out the nice gotcha cards.
See, you get what I'm talking about exactly. Um, and actually, what's great about talking about this is that I remembered the other thing I wanted to say, but I'll table that. Let me just type it out real quick.
All right.
Free options. Uh, yeah. Okay. So yeah. So when we actually did the fully foiled deck printout, it answered the question for me. Yes, we should do this. And yes, we should do it as an early bird thing because I think people respond to it, and they absolutely have. There's a really cool reaction you get when you show somebody the game and go like, hold on, check this out, and you like open up a little deck box and pull out the foiled cards. Like the look in their eyes is wonderful.
Everybody loves hollows, you know?
Shiny cardboard, can't avoid it.
Yep.
The temptation is there. Yeah. To speak also on the card material, I have always been a fan of playing cards. It's sort of my go-to for like if we go on vacation or if we travel. I want to get like even if it's just like a whatever card stock, welcome to Maryland or something like on the back of it. That's always my like go-to souvenir. And so I have appreciated like a nice thick shuffleable deck, bridging the cards, riffle shuffling them. Maybe like a little bit of I forget what the word is for this, but just a little bit of a few flourishes when you're shuffling. So
Cardistry, yeah.
cardistry, that's right. Oh, you're familiar. I was hiding my power level. Yeah, so I love that kind of stuff, and so I wanted to make a deck that was really comfortable for that and would survive like long play. So we went with for a material that bridged and shuffled really nicely, very similar to like the texture of a playing card, and it kind of gives it like a bit of grit when you look at it. Like there's a nice texture on it. And I wasn't sure if this would work or not, but those also work as a foil.
Oh,
So I do not feel like these are cheap cards. I think that the quality that we went for here serves gameplay and game feel. Um, so that uh, yeah, the foil thing is really really cool, and I'm glad that people are into it.
yeah. I like you said, people love shiny cardboard.
It's just true. Yeah, I don't think this comes across in the photos, but each of the cards also has like a silver gilt.
Oh
So
yeah,
they're the edges of the cards are actually like shiny silver. So you have a stack of them, you can see like you're holding like a metal brick in your hand.
nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hadn't noticed the texture until now, but looking at like the 100% foil deck here, you can definitely see that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
cool. You had one other topic that you wanted to talk about. What was that?
Yes. So another thing I want to stress is, and this was going into this had come up when I remember this because I really want people to play the game. We set up Steam Workshop modules. I don't know what the word is, but it is available on Tabletop Simulator. So if people have Tabletop Simulator, they can already like grab the cards and kind of handle them and play the tutorial set. Um, Working on getting the advanced set public. I don't know if it is already, but then I also made a printable PDF. So if you have access to a printer, you could print these cards out yourself. I used there's like a MTG proxy site that I just loaded them onto and then exported the PDF. So if somebody just really wanted to try it out and didn't want to wait for a live event or till after we shipped it, these are available on the how-to page, and I think we have the link, like a direct link to the PDF on it's archive.org also. So
Right
it's
on.
in my experience, people have responded well to just being able to play it. The printable cards, we opted for something that used less ink, so it's really just the symbols and the pips. So we kept it really really simple for that, so we don't kill your printer. If you just want to try the game out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
So that's
if
mm,
sorry, go ahead.
mhm, go ahead.
I was just
No,
gonna say, if you're watching this and don't own Tabletop Simulator, you should buy Tabletop Simulator. It's really good. Like,
you get so much out of it. Like
yeah,
it was critical. It was critical when we were developing the game because we could see what it looked like, see what our art looked like on a card. We could uh, in the development steps, like we sort of sanded down a couple of things. Like actually, like in a really really early iteration, um, before we had landed on one player starts the turn when they're putting down cards. That's it. Move on to the next one, because there was this kind of like, so do I go or do you go? Like, can I keep going, or is this what do we do here? There's this like uncertainty that we just threw out the window because you're committing to the cards that you've played. Your opponent commits the cards, and then you resolve it, and then you move on to the next turn. There is an impact to the choices that you make in these
right
now.
on. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Prevents the pacing from getting tedious.
exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And a tournament of this would go pretty fast. Actually, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did do a test bracket last Saturday. And for three, we had 8 people for it, including myself. So I kind of mucked up the bracket a little. Um, but it We did 3 rounds with the 8 people, and that was done in under an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a quick game. It's a quick game, and I like it like this because it means as soon as you're done with a round, you go, all right, let's do that again. Like,
Yeah.
there's some stuff I want to try. There's something I want to do differently than what I did on the last one, and it's kind of like the sort of the modern what's the word, modern retry button in like new platformers and stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
again, let's do it again. I messed it up. I want to try something else. Let's go.
Yeah, right on. Um, and yeah, like I said, if you're still watching us, a deck is $20 US plus shipping to Canada, the US, or the Philippines. Uh, throw some money at the project.
Appreciate it.
Um,
Thanks. Yeah.
yeah, and Pat, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I'm very comfortable talking about this game. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to pitch.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a project you're very passionate about, and you've put a lot of love into it.
Rock, paper, scissors, too. That's GotchaCards. We did it. We did it, folks.